Hello and welcome to the Play Healing Podcast with me, your host, Debi John. And today I have Namya Joshi, all the way from India, on the podcast to talk to us today. It was an absolute privilege to meet her in person after knowing about her for about 2 or 3 years, seeing you on the podcast with Stephen Reed and talking about game-based learning and Minecraft education and all these things. So I will let you introduce yourself to what you're up to right now. And then I would love for our first questions, I always do on this series, is to ask you what you remember playing with when you were really young in those kind of formative years. So welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Debbie. It's really great to be here on your podcast. So extremely grateful for the invite. And talk about your question, like a little bit about myself. So hi everyone. I'm currently a grade 12 student, I can say, because I'm gonna be in 12th in a few days. So presently 11th till I get my result at Satpal Middle School in India. I'm 17 years old and one of the official Minecraft student ambassadors by Microsoft. So,
Amazing.
inspired by my own motto, each one teach 10, I've spent the last 6 years designing and delivering free of cost coding workshops for more than 15,000 teachers, young people, especially girls in India and all over the world, as well as empowering other young people to run their own ventures and coding clubs. And what
Amazing.
I've basically been doing is raising awareness
Mhm.
about the issues that we face in the society using game based learning and STEM so that we can solve them with creative solutions. And about
Amazing.
the question, about how, play was there part of my early ages, like when I've been brought up. So, like, I did talk about this at BET as well, that, since an early age, I had really high energy levels. So my mother had to, channelize my energy towards a good side. So I used to play, she used to engage me in playing games such as tic-tac-toe, or it used to be, she gave me 3 to 4 words to weave an entire story out of it, and playing Scrabble,
Mhm.
or even cycling with the garden with my friends. We used to play, card games, and then I got into sports. So I started,
Mm.
like, the first sport that really attracted me to get into the field of sports as well was badminton. So I
Oh,
started playing
wow.
that when I was in grade second. And I remember my mom got the kit for me. She said, like, why don't you give it a try? So, like, the next day I joined the school's after sports badminton club. And then I got interested in playing badminton. And then it went to, swimming, playing tennis, playing
Mhm.
squash. But then a game that I discovered in grade six, and since then I've fallen in love in playing that, is basketball.
Oh,
Because, like,
wow.
I am an ardent basketball player. I'm really proud to say that I've also represented my school at the states level, and
Nice.
we won there as well. So it was like amazing. You know, I in my free time I love to watch the 3 pointer series of Stephen Curry's, or other amazing players. Also, even female basketball players who've been doing really well. So yeah,
Amazing.
that's how gaming, physical gaming, with
Yes, like
sports are
spatial
really.
awareness and
Yeah, exactly.
teamwork. So you like doing a lot of sport, physical sport, as well as working digitally. Because I know you did it.
True.
When did you start kind of working with games, like digital games? Did you have a computer from very early on? When were you introduced to that?
Well, I didn't have my own computer, but my mom and my father, both of them are from the field of IT. So they used to work on their, computers at home. And I remember myself, creeping into their rooms, turning on their PC, and, checking a few things around. So, like, like, I have been having that IT, attraction, towards
I
computers and
mean,
digital skills.
how old are you talking here when you're sneaking into their room about?
I was about 6 or 7 years old. So, like, that since that time. But when it comes to,
Okay.
digital gaming, so I remember that I borrowed my mom's laptop to work on a project for our school. I was in grade 4 that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I clicked on the start icon, and I saw this just icon that says Minecraft. And I'm like, is it like Minecraft, like paper origami or something? That's what crafting is like. But then when I clicked on it, it was like an entire game. So I
Mm,
started exploring and, seeing the villages, how to mine, how to break the blocks in Minecraft, place your own things, exploring the inventory.
hmm.
And that's what got me into survival gaming, defeating Ender Dragon, and, just enjoying the entire game. But then when it came to, understanding the essence of the game truly, I was in grade 5.
Okay.
And I
So that's like
realized that
10, 10, 11.
yes, 10, 11. So I realized that my fellow classmates found it quite boring to understand the lessons from books because it was mere text. And it, of course, like being a student, even I realized that it gets monotonous to keep on
Yeah.
reading, learning, and there's no fun element added. So once I got a chance to be one of the, conducting a workshop in my school for the fellow teachers, and that day, like for Minecraft itself, and that day I realized that, if we could teach them about Minecraft, they could be the, people who could use Minecraft as an amazing tool to make
Hmm.
their classrooms more lively. So keeping in mind that that is a vision that I believe can be taken forward, I made my first lesson in grade 6, and it was in history, the Egyptian civilization, because I've always
Amazing.
been, an ardent fan of history because it's my favorite subject. So I just decided to, try it out in history first. Even my teacher agreed to using that besides the notes that she used to give to us.
She
And that
sounds
was it.
amazing.
Yeah, like the entire class was engaged. They were asking questions. And since that point, there was never looking back, creating more and more lessons with different subjects, with SDGs, and the journey kept on continuing.
Amazing. How amazing for your teacher to give you the platform to share and for her to learn from you rather feeling like she has to have all the answers. And I think what's been happening as you've been growing and teaching teachers, it's just wonderful to hear about how receptive they are. And sometimes we do need someone to just come alongside us, don't we? And just show us the way and get us started, and then we can fly. And we know that Minecraft is kind of a sandbox game. You can go in so many different directions. All really you kind of have to do to start is be that bridge between not knowing how to play it and knowing how to play it, like how to place things down or how to build and a few shortcuts and things. But once you get going, we're naturally curious beings, aren't we? When we're made to play, we've got that inbuilt inside of us. You seem to have such a beautiful curiosity to you. But one thing that stands out about you, Namya, is your confidence to have a go. And I mean, you stood on stage in front of thousands of adults with poise, and you you have this obviously very strong passion now that you've formed from a very, very young age. And I wonder what you think the factors were to 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 getting you to this place where you can stand on stage. Not every 17-year-old can do what you did a few weeks ago, can they? Is there anything that has given you confidence? Have there been some steps along the way? Obviously, it's been a journey, right?
Absolutely, it's a really good question. I would say that my family is my support system. Most importantly, from like my mom, like I talked about, that she has been channelizing my energy, engaging me in different activities.
Mm,
And they've
channeling the
been,
energy.
yes, so they've nurtured my skills as a whole. And all of the diverse set of activities that she engaged me in contributed to my overall development as well as helped me to enhance my skills. So all the competitions I've took part in, collaborations I have done, you know led or took part in group projects, they've helped me to build my confidence, and they've brought me where I am today. So
Hmm.
honestly, I couldn't see anyone when I was standing on the Beth Arena stage. It's like such a huge hall packed with people, and it was out of the world experience for me. But I guess, like, small steps that you take in your life, or any achievement that you're getting, or anything that you're exploring, all of it is giving you skills to enhance, such as confidence, like I said before,
Hmm.
and is shaping you as an individual as well. So if you're, engaging yourself in activities or collaborations, you're able to enhance yourself and you're becoming a better version every day. So
Mm,
I believe,
mm.
the environment you live in, like being a
Stable.
psychology student, I've learned about that. It's not just heredity, but it's also the environment. So
Yeah.
having a environment that is supportive, that has people who, are able to look after you, as well as are able to support you in every single way, it
Mm,
motivates you. But in the end of the
mm.
day, it's also you who has to work hard. Because if you have the best environment, but you don't have the motivation, then nobody can help you.
Yeah.
So I would say my environment and my parents and all the people who supported me along
Mm,
my entire journey has
mm.
helped me, gain that confidence to stand on the bed stage.
Yeah, that sounds, it's so true. It's taking those steps along the way, having that supportive environment, but also the role models, isn't it? I'm sure when
Yeah,
you saw Stephen and what he was doing on Minecraft and creating these worlds, he's like, Namya, look at this, and you can do this, and you can do this.
yeah.
You need some people around you like that, don't you? To then for you to go, what? Oh my goodness. And then you go for it. It's in the music industry, there's quite a shortage of female producers, for example, working in recording studios. There's always been more men than women. And it's like the more role models we have in that industry for girls to also look up and go, oh, she's doing that. She's working with this top artist, or this girl drummer's on stage with Prince, or this girl, and they've needed role models along the way. And that's just seems to be a really, like, giving someone permission to play their way is a kind of motto I have. And people have enabled you by saying, go for it, rather than don't do that. Oh, don't, oh, that's too risky. Why are you on
Mhm.
computers? They're bad for you, all these kind of things that they could have been saying. So but what do you think makes a really good teacher and mentor? What are the qualities that you find are powerful when you're talking about raising this next generation? What do they need?
Well, according to me, a good teacher is a person who has acceptance. So, like, of course, the teacher is there to teach, and we students are here to learn. But there's also sometimes, when teachers can learn from students as well. And even sometimes it can be like if you're asking a question to the teacher and she may not be knowing the answer, because of course we all are learners, so there's nothing
Mm,
to be shy of and be scared that students will make fun of them. Because like being a student, I can affirm to the fact that there's nothing like that, because
mm,
we understand, we value them, and we
mm,
know everybody is a learner, so nobody is perfect. So I think that acceptance of learning and not being shy is one of the greatest ability that should be there in a teacher. Secondly, I think he or she should be a good listener, should be empathetic, is able to step into the shoe of the other person, our student, and, realize where they come from and what are their needs, because everybody learns differently. We just cannot have, one way of teaching in the classroom, but the teacher should be able to adapt herself in the environment.
the
And like,
flexibility kind of
yeah,
thing as
like that
well.
reminds me of, my experience as well of training them. So when I started, um, I I learned these skills side by side of being accept and having acceptance, being a good listener, being empathetic. Because one thing I must appreciate about teachers and mentors is that when we have questions, or let's say we ask them one question a couple of times without a frown, without hesitation, they answer it, even if it's the easiest question in the world. But then when I realized that, they were just asking, like, how do we place blocks in Minecraft? How do we break it? So inside, I did feel like this is such a simple question. Like, aren't they able to solve it? But then I realized that that's exactly where we come from as well. We ask simple questions, and, curiosity again leads to learning. So we must learn how to step into the shoe of the other person,
Mm,
be
empathy.
empathetic as well as kind towards them.
Mm. Do you know, that's such a lovely answer that
Thank you.
I don't need to ask you about what creates a feeling of safety when we learn, because it seems to remind me of the parenting um, sort of philosophies that I talk about with parents,
Mhm.
and acceptance is one of them. Because if we help a child to feel safe, then they will be more curious, they'll have the courage to have a go. And it's so important in classrooms, isn't it?
Yeah,
tricky when you've got 30 students or you've got 10 adults or 20 adults or 1,000 adults in front of you. It's so important that we have that feeling of safety, acceptance, that we're curious, that we're flexible, and we listen, help people to feel seen and noticed, which is what we want our children to feel, seen and noticed.
absolutely.
So it's that
Building a
kind of thing.
positive environment is very important where every
Mm,
voice matters and teachers are giving, every equal chance to all. They're valuing every perspective. So
yeah.
absolutely.
So talking on a broader level, okay, you've probably visited many schools. Do you know how many teachers, I think you said at the beginning, but how many teachers have you trained in the last 6, 7 years?
Well, overall, that includes, teacher students, it has been 15,000, but I believe
15,000.
around 8,000 or 7 to
Wow.
8,000 has been teachers.
Wow. That's incredible. And
Thank
the
you.
legacy of that, and you're only 17. So like it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
But if you're talking about, so you've probably visited lots of schools just in India, or have you gone to America and beyond? Have you
Well,
been
I've
working
been to
with people
Finland
across
thrice, so I've visited
Finland?
schools there as well. Amazing
That's
schools.
amazing. I've heard Finland's amazing for education. Absolutely. I
Yes.
can't wait to visit. Um, so after seeing all these schools and really thinking about the future, if you designed a school, what would you want to include in it?
Well, for me, I would say that I would, stress upon like the motto of my school would be learning by doing. And,
Mm,
like my school's motto is learning without limits. So I would keep mine as learning by doing because that's how we learn. So
mm,
that's focusing upon practical learning. One thing, that I have focused in, like, usually when we ask our teachers, like, it's sunny environment, we ask, can we go out to study in the outdoor environment? But they're like, no, we won't get the permission. So, like, I would love to add, like, outdoor learning environments in my school
mm,
because I'm a nature lover. I love to connect with the nature. And I think that's how we can connect with the nature and learn from nature because we have a lot to take in from the nature.
we
And,
do.
wherein we have, like I said, about incorporating practical life skills such as financial literacy. That is again the talk of the town that schools must have it. So I would love to include that in my school that is able to improve students' communication, problem solving skills.
Mm.
And one thing I'm really passionate about is, game-based learning.
Could you just tell our
Okay.
listeners what game-based learning is to make it really clear? Because it could be all sorts of things, couldn't it?
Yeah, of course. So let's say that you're a person who loves to play games, because a human mind is designed in a way that it loves to play games, such as, on your phone, it could be Fortnite, Valorant, Rocket League, Asphalt, Minecraft, any other game.
Hmm.
So that's just when you're playing games for fun. Then we realize that, games are able to teach us different skills as well, such as hard work, team spirit, um,
Yeah.
dedication, decision making,
Mm.
collaboration,
Yeah. Problem
creativity,
solving.
different
Yeah.
thing, problem solving, like you said. So that is when you're learning game-based learning for certain objectives. So when you remove those objectives and add the, classroom environment, that is, a non-gaming environment, such as our entire classroom, the subjects that we study in the school, you're adding that as an objective that is being learned through a game. Then that becomes gamification in education. So
Beautiful.
yeah, that is exactly what game-based learning is. That could be anything that you want to learn. It could be about the environment, it could be
Hmm.
about a subject called physics, anything.
Hmm. And play is the language of the child,
Yeah.
as in the therapeutic world, we use play to help children to process because that's their language. They don't always have the words to articulate how they're feeling or what they really need at the time, but they
Mm-hmm.
often play it out. And using that, I mean, I truly believe we should never stop playing. And they've now found, haven't they? I was talking to Ryan Douglas about his work in game-based therapy. So they're using games to treat things like depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And the research coming out now is absolutely incredible. So and I know there's lots of wonderful things going on game-based learning wise now in education. And I know Minecraft is a big player, but they can use all sorts of games, either digital games and analog games. Um, but it sounds like in your school, going back to your design school, beautiful slogan there about learning by doing, immersive learning. Yeah, just getting in there. And the fact that you want to have a balance between learning in nature as well as on screens, which sounds fantastic. And with AI as well, there are so many programs now that can go at the pace of the child, which is again something that's quite therapeutic. When I talk about therapeutic play, there's this kind of thing of letting the child lead the way. And
Mm-hmm.
often I found in education that if we try to set all children going at the same pace, doing the same thing, we get children falling off the wagon left, right, and center, and then not feeling good enough because they can't keep up with the person next to them, and they can't, and then other people being bored because they want to go faster. And if we
Yep.
can have this sort of way of learning that's much more attuned to each child, how incredible! Like the results speak for themselves, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
Well, I have met your mother, and I want to talk about her for a
Of
second. She's
course.
calm and lovely. And I saw her face as you were on stage. I saw how she was just keeping in the background, just being there for you as you shone. But I'm sure there's been some times of difficulty and times of celebration along the way. But what do you think makes a good parent? A parent that fosters creativity, a parent that helps a child to be confident?
For me, I think a good parent should be the one that guides you towards the right path. Of course, every parent does, but again, you need to learn to accept that from them as well. So that's the first quality.
Mm,
Secondly, I would say the parent should be able to give out constructive criticism because that's really important for us. I would say like my
so
mom is
feedback.
my biggest critic and she's my
Okay.
biggest cheerleader. So
Oh,
again,
wow. That's
that's
lovely.
how I have to accept criticism from her because she is the one who's able to tell me where I can improve myself. And of course, I accept it because she's my mom and she will guide me for the best. And my biggest cheerleader because any achievement, she's there. The party's on me. Like, I'll give you this. Like, for me, like, if I don't want any, bigger things. I'm like, just get me something good to eat. And she's always there to buy it for me.
So she's a good cook. That's another
Yes,
factor of
she
being a
is.
good parent. You have to have good food to feed your teenagers, especially. I hear the saying, the amount of times I get, there's nothing to eat, mum. Where's all the food? And I'm like, there is food. I promise you there is food, but they're always hungry in my house. I've got two girls about your age. My eldest is 17, so it's
Okay.
wonderful. Really cool. But when I met you, I thought, does she ever stop? Does she ever stop, or is she just go, 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 go? And I know you had high energy. You were talking about that. What do you do to relax, first of all, or maybe pause?
Yeah, I'd say I pause to relax, to pursue my hobbies and rejuvenate myself. So I go to the hills in the northern part of my country. I do
Mm-hmm.
sketching. I also have been writing poetry for the past 2 years now. I watch movies. I eat my favorite foods with my family. I talk with my parents, with my grandparents. So I remember being sick one time and my parents were not at home. So I was, sitting up with my grandparents and like for 2 hours like they were telling me their stories, their past, all things that they have experienced, and
Storytelling.
I was totally fine after that. So my sickness just disappeared into thin air. So, just
Beautiful.
relaxing myself in that way. And like I recently finished my grade 11 exam. Like I told you, I'm waiting for my result.
Oh, yeah.
And like I took a complete break till yesterday, and today I was back doing my work. And I continue again with even more motivation. So, that's how I pause and then continue.
It's really important, isn't it? I wish I had
Yes.
discovered the power of pausing earlier. And I mean, there was no guidance on breath work, for example, the importance of resting and pausing and pacing yourself. When I was at school, it just seemed to be go, 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 go. But I
Yeah.
naturally used to use the piano when I was revising. I would revise for 50 minutes, 10 minutes, play the piano, revise for 50 minutes, 10 minutes, play the piano. And now people do revise and then play some Minecraft or play
Mm-hmm.
this and then or walk outside or cuddle the dog or whatever they need to do. But
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So if we're thinking about this pausing, playing and connecting, model. It sounds like you've just paused before going back to your studies and you really understand that. And I would class you as a high performing individual human with all the things you've achieved up to the age of 17. I think you're a beautiful model of what can be achieved in such a short amount of time. And what does the pause, play, connect model mean to you? Does it resonate? Reflecting on it, does it feel like something that maybe you do naturally?
I'd say, yeah, I do it naturally because I think that's a human tendency. We need to take a pause at every point of in our life, but even at every point in the day as well. We cannot be continuously working, being glued to our screens the entire day. We must get up, take a walk around in the garden, spend time with our loved ones, come back with better energy, better motivation, then continue. Because like I follow this technique called Pomodoro.
Oh,
So when
yeah.
I'm studying for my exams or just doing my homework, so I make sure like I'm following a routine of 50 minutes of study, 10 minutes of break, and people can do it 40 or 10. It's perfectly their choice. So that's even more productive than 3 or 4 hours of at a stretch study, because I think I personally have experience that I'm able to work more productively and study more productively, and I'm able to learn more when I follow this technique. The
Mm,
taking breaks is very important. So that's again
hmm.
pause. You're able to take a break and then you continue again, and
Yeah.
then again you're playing, studying, doing whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want. You'll
Mm-hmm.
have the best motivation and the highest you know level of productivity that I could say about this.
Yeah. I love that because you're building connections in your brain as you learn, aren't you? So there's that
Of course.
connection. So you're having to
Hmm.
pause, you're playing, you're connecting, and then pause, play, connect, and you're just pacing yourself naturally.
Hmm.
We're born to live in a flow, aren't we? As humans, we're not meant to
Yes.
be like at this level all the time. I think our nervous systems would not be very happy. But thank you so much. I've loved talking to you, and I was wondering if you wanted to leave any final thoughts, just anything that's come up, risen up to the surface as we've been talking that maybe you'd like listeners to know.
Course. So I remember you asking me about, parents raising their children in this digital age, and, the entire surroundings being full of students hooked onto their mobile screens and their tablets. I would just say them to keep the 5 pillars of digital citizenship in their mind when, they're raising their children, so that they be able to stay alert when they're online, what to
Stay
do, what
alert.
not to do, being
Yeah.
balanced, that you're able to balance your time offline and online. Then you're informed about different information, and you know that what is wrong and what is right. You're engaged in different civic activities. So, we always believe that we have to be safe online so we can be the ones who create those safe spaces as well. And most importantly, be inclusive. You must be kind to people online, listen to their perspectives, and reply, give yours as well. So you must, disagree with the person's perspective and not the person. And when
Yeah.
you're able to, articulate these 5 pillars, you become an impactor, and then you have to take it forward to spread those ripples of change. And the end, I would just say let's each one teach 10, and then one day we'll have everybody educated about, digital citizenship, about, climate change, about
Mm,
education, of the things that we must
mm,
know and
mm.
should spread. So let's, learn, grow, and share together. That would be my message.
Thank you so much, Namya. It's been such an honor to spend time with you and a privilege to hear a little bit of your journey about how play helps foster where you are today. And I wish you all the best as you absolutely smash it this year.